Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is to dig into the quest for absolute control. We're bridging the gap between, the external physical world of precision think, high-end gaming gear and the internal psychological world.
Exactly. This is really for you, the learner. We're looking at what it takes to get to pro-level performance. On one hand, we're going to obsess over milliseconds of hardware latency, and on the other, we'll get into the neuroscience of confidence of how the brain handles errors.
And we've got some pretty wild source material for this. We have specs on 42,000 DPI mice, deep dives into PC troubleshooting, and then this advanced analysis of a brain circuit called the anterior cingulate cortex.
And we'll cap it off with a concept called adaptive grandiosity, which is, it's fascinating.
It sounds it. Okay, let's start with the stuff you can actually hold in your hand. Physical optimization.
Right. So achieving that level of external control, it really starts with the computer itself. When you hear serious performers talk about maxed out, they mean they're minimizing every single variable. That means optimized components, CPU, RAM, video card, all of it.
And the most direct connection to that machine is the mouse. And we are way beyond just regular consumer tech here. We're talking about engineering to the absolute extreme.
Yeah.
I saw some of these mice weigh just 49 grams, like the Asus ROG Harp Ace Mini. It's practically weightless.
And that's the idea. Every milligram you save is energy conserved, which means precision gained. But the real revolution isn't just weight, it's the sensor, and crucially the switch. Modern optical sensors are hitting a staggering 42,000 dpi.
But sensitivity is only half of it, right? The speed comes from the input itself, the click.
Exactly. That's why the whole industry is moving so fast toward optical switches and the mouse buttons.
This is where that absolute intolerance for any kind of delay comes in. Optical switches, they get rid of the physical metal contact, which is where mechanical lag comes from.
And that single change delivers a massive, massive speed advantage. An optical switch registers an input in just 0.2 milliseconds.
0.2.
Right. Now you compare that to an older mechanical switch, which takes a full millisecond, sometimes more.
So that's, what, an 80% speed difference?
It's about an 80% faster input. And that's not just a spec. It shows the psychological need for mechanical determinism. We want to remove every variable.
But all that amazing tech is useless if the surface it's on is garbage. Which brings us to the surprisingly intense debate over mouse pads. Cloth versus glass.
And this is purely a consistency discussion. Your traditional cloth pad degrades. It just does. High traffic areas wear down, it soaks up oils, dirt. You're constantly fighting a changing friction level.
So the goal is predictability. Perfect predictability. Because the glass pads, as the sources say, offer perfect consistency. The glide is the same on day 1 as it is on day 1,000.
Precisely. And if it gets dirty, you wipe it. 5 seconds. Done.
Is there a trade-off?
A very small one. Glass does wear down the mouse feet a little faster than cloth. But replacement feet are cheap, they're easy to swap out, and the consensus is that the massively better performance from the glass pad is worth it. Another variable eliminated.
Okay, so zooming out from the hardware, you then have to deal with the operating system itself. Even Windows 11 has default settings that can sabotage.
Absolutely. One of the very first things any performance enthusiast does is turn off enhanced pointer position.
Which is on by default.
It's almost always on by default, and it tries to smooth out your mouse movement. But for competitive plaything Valorant, CS2 turning it off gives you raw, completely undistorted input. It stops what they call pixel skipping.
And if you're really digging deep, trying to find some rogue program that's causing issues, you might have to do something as drastic as a clean boot.
A clean boot is a fundamental troubleshooting step. It starts Windows with the absolute bare minimum of drivers and programs running. It lets you isolate the problem. Is it third-party software? Is it a system process? It's a surgical approach.
So, we have minimized hardware variables down to 0.2 milliseconds. We've minimized software variables with clean boot. But all that perfection just shines a massive spotlight on the next layer of chaos, the human element.
The human element.
We've meticulously controlled the external world. Now, how does our own flawed, error-prone wetware handle all this?
And that's the transition. We go from external control to the brain's internal architecture of control. We're focusing on a region called the anterior cingulate cortex, or the ACC.
The ACC.
Think of it as the brain's internal auditor. It's constantly running a cost-benefit analysis on everything you do. It's assessing cognitive effort.
And the sources say it can tell the difference between types of effort.
It does. It distinguishes between, say, resource-based effort, which is just paying attention, and persistence-based effort, which is that internal fight to overcome impatience or do something unpleasant. It tracks your strategy. It literally tags behaviors as either your dominant default or an exploratory alternative.
That sounds exhausting. Like it's just constantly analyzing everything. Doesn't the brain have a way to just quiet things down, hit the brakes on all that noise?
It absolutely does. And those are the inhibitory interneurons, primarily two types, parvalbumin, or PV, and somatostatin, SST. These are the masters of precision. They're the brakes on the whole cortical circuit.
Okay, so they're the brakes.
We see their effect very clearly in behavior. In some studies, activating those PV interneurons in the ACC dramatically reduce social exploration, a really strong suppression of unwanted actions.
So they break behaviors. What about sharpening perception? How do they do that?
This is where it gets really cool. Think of the PV neurons as noise-canceling headphones for your brain.
Okay, I like that.
In the visual cortex, if you activate these PV cells only in the first 120 milliseconds of a visual response, it massively improves visual discrimination.
How?
By crushing the false alarm rate. They fire early to get rid of the background static, the competing signals, so only the sharpest, clearest pattern gets through. That's pattern separation.
So they sharpen the input, reduce noise, suppress bad ideas. But you said that ACC's main job is detecting error. What does that look like?
It looks like an electrical switch. There are these specific neurons, N3E types, we think they're PV cells, in the ACC. And they switch how they oscillate based on something called reward prediction errors, RPEs.
RPEs. That's when the world doesn't do what your brain expected it to do.
Precisely. If the RPE is high, the outcome was a total surprise. It triggers this rapid gamma synchronization, around 35 to 42 hertz. But if the RPE is low, everything went as planned, it triggers a much slower theta alpha synchronization.
So the gamma wave is the uh-oh signal.
It is the uh-oh signal. That gamma activity is literally indexing the detection of a mismatch. The circuit is screaming, mismatch, update your strategy.
Can we do a quick check-in here on dopamine? Because everyone thinks of dopamine as the gas pedal, the reward chemical. You're saying it's great.
That's a great question, and yes, it's a huge misconception. In the ACC, dopamine is a major inhibitory neuromodulator. It pumps the brakes on the output of those main cells. And this is really clear in pain research. In chronic neuropathic pain, a painful stimulus actually causes a decrease in dopamine release in the ACC.
So less dopamine means less braking.
Exactly. Less inhibition means the circuit can become pathologically hyperexcitable, which might be why the pain persists.
Okay, this brings us to what feels like the central paradox of this whole thing. We've established that the brain has this meticulous objective error detector, the ACC, that's wired to stop us from doing risky things.
Right.
And yet the most successful people seem to succeed by strategically distorting reality. We optimize the physical world for up to 0.2 milliseconds of objectivity, and then the highest performers rely on psychological distortion. How does that work?
This is the adaptive grandiosity framework. It's the concept that lets performance outrun probability. Adaptive grandiosity is where your belief in your own ability deliberately exceeds the objective odds. It's not a disorder, it's a strategic cognitive infrastructure.
So what's its function when your internal auditor, the ACC, is screaming, "The odds are terrible, stop"?
It's the override switch, the paralysis bypass. If a rational analysis tells you that your chance of success is, say, under 20%, most people experience motivational collapse. Analysis paralysis. Adaptive grandiosity just overrides that whole system, gives you the functional delusion you need to act anyway.
The famous reality distortion field, the RDF, that they talked about with Steve Jobs?
The prime example. The RDF uses something called temporal probability redistribution. Jobs would talk about a distant future possibility as if it were a present tense inevitability. He'd promise a product in 6 months when his own experts were saying it would take 2 years.
It wasn't just a lie then.
It was a psychological tool. It forced commitment and energy from his team in a way that retroactively made his impossible vision possible.
You see this in competitive sports too, like with chess grandmaster Magnus Carlsen.
Oh, absolutely. Carlsen talks openly about using delusional optimism. He has to enter a match with the emotional certainty that he will win. But, and this is the crucial part, that grandiosity is only active inside the performance window.
Because doubt would slow him down.
It degrades calculation speed, it hurts tactical sharpness, but the second the game is over, he switches to ruthlessly objective analysis. That's the learning window. The separation of those two states is the key.
And it stands across fields. The architect, Zaha Hadid, she would design these seemingly seemingly unbuildable building.
And in doing so, she forced her engineers to invent new solutions, retroactively validating her vision. Or look at Joan of Arc. The narrative of a divine mandate completely eliminated her decision paralysis. It let her act as a military catalyst.
So in all these cases, the functional delusion creates the conditions for its own success.
It does. But, and this is a really important counterbalance, you can't just run around showering people with false certainty.
The cost of false positive feedback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pro-social deception, false praise. It feels good in the short term, but it produces long-term adaptive impairment. It freezes skill development because it eliminates the error signal.
So you need to be able to use the grandiosity for action, but demand brutally honest feedback for learning.
That's the tension. You need the ACC to be sharp enough to detect the mismatch after the fact, but you need adaptive grandiosity to stop the ACC from paralyzing you before the fact.
Ruthless calibration externally, strategic delusion internally.
Got it.
Okay, before we wrap this up, there's one final, really crucial area of control to talk about. If you are going to the trouble of doing a clean boot to make sure your execution platform is flawless, you also have to secure that platform digitally.
Which brings us to the tools you use for your digital environment. Just like you want raw, undistorted input from a mouse, you want raw, untracked searches online. That's where DuckDuckGo comes in. It's the independent online protection company, and its search engine is built specifically to never track your searches.
And they keep adding these layers of control, which really mirrors this whole philosophy of minimizing variables.
That's right. They've got the basics, like ad tracker and cookie blocking, which eliminate external interference. But for advanced users, there's the fire button, which wipes your browsing data. And now you can have it clear your Duck.ai chat history too.
And if you want pure privacy, nothing else.
They even have a search-only widget now. It never even includes a Duck.ai option. It prioritizes pure, untracked search above everything else. It's kind of like the digital version of a clean boot.
This has been a really incredible journey, from sub-millisecond differences in switches all the way to brainwave synchronization in the ACC.
And the key takeaway for you, the listener, is that high performance demands both. It demands the meticulous external calibration, the 0.2 millisecond switches, the glass pads, and a radical internal recalibration. That adaptive grandiosity that knows when to override the brain's own logic.
So, building on that idea from Magnus Carlsen, here's the final thought for you to chew on. If your brain, specifically your anterior cingulate cortex, is constantly calculating the odds and flagging error predictions, how do you build a system for yourself that ensures you maintain that ruthlessly objective analysis after a failure, while still giving yourself permission for the functional delusion you need to overcome paralysis and try again?